Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, all I'm going to be doing is talking. As you can tell by the title, I will be telling you why I'm home currently. A couple videos ago, I think, I said that I was home, and then I was like, I'll tell you guys later what's going on, you know, because it was still fresh, and it still is. But I'm going to tell it now anyways, because I feel like it. Clearly, based off of what you just saw, I don't have any sort of script or anything. I'm just going off of what I can remember. Like, this happened like 10 years ago. It literally happened like 3 weeks ago. Anyways, so if you've been watching my channel for a while, in the summer I wouldn't shut up about going to school and like moving back to school. The time finally came and I went back to school, and you guys saw like I was making videos there. I'm gonna give you a play-by-play, minute-by-minute, everything that happened leading up to where we are right now, okay? So get your popcorn, grab a snack, get some water, whatever. So it was November 2nd, 2020, and I had an essay due, and because I am a serial procrastinator, I was finishing my essay, basically starting it. We don't need to talk about that, but I had my essay due at 6 that day, and I literally finished it at 5. I was writing all day, whatever. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give myself some self-care, a night to myself, because I deserve it for finishing an assignment literally the day it was due. So that night I was like, I'm just gonna chill in my room, watch TikToks, do my thing, you know, the huge. And so I finished my essay, you know, had dinner, was talking to my roommates, lollygagging, and then I'm sitting in my bed watching TikToks, as one does. And at about 10:30 p.m., the fire alarm starts going off in my building. From what I remember, the fire alarm sounded different the last time I heard it, like for the drills that we had done previously. So this time I was like, is that the fire alarm or is that something else? Like, should I be concerned? Is there something going on? I kind of waited out for a second, because usually with the fire alarm, the security will come on and, you know, tell everyone it's a drill or that it's real, I guess. I don't really know. But I didn't hear anything happening. Like, I was just like, okay, this loud beeping is happening, what's going on? So I leave my bedroom, because all my roommates and I are in our own, doing our own thing. So I open my bedroom door, and I like look out in the hallway, and I'm like, I literally yell out, I'm like, what is going on? My roommate comes out of her room, and we're like, what's happening? And then my other roommate comes out, and the other roommate and I were like, oh, you're here? Like, we didn't even know you were here. And then my other roommate opens the bathroom door, soaking wet, with conditioner in her hand. And she's like, what do we do? Like, I'm in the middle of a shower. So we're all laughing, you know, like, of course it was you in the shower when this happened. We were just having a hoot because we didn't know what was going on. The fire alarm was going off, but no one was doing anything, or no one said anything, or whatever. But then the power goes off. And I'm like, no. This is horrifying. It was right after Halloween, and my roommate and I were watching a bunch of horror movies, and I'm not a horror movie person. So I was like traumatized, like the power's out, I can't see, whatever. So then one of my roommates like opens our door out to the hallway where the elevators are, and like looks out to see what other people are doing. And she hears people like leaving their rooms. It's obviously pitch black, so you can't really see anything. And then she kind of just yells out, hoping someone will answer, like, are you guys leaving? And then people are like, yeah, like, it's smoky. And we're like, oh my gosh. So then she pulls out her phone, like, with the flash on, because it's pitch black and we needed the flashlight. And you could see, like, the smoke, and it started to smell. So then we all went into panic mode, and we're like, we need to get out, like, we need to leave immediately. So I grabbed my phone, put on sneakers with no socks, which is the most uncomfortable feeling, but in this case I did not care, obviously. So I grabbed my phone, I put shoes on, I think I grabbed a mask, keys, wallet, and left everything else in my room. We'll get to that later. So we all like grab stuff, like one of my roommates is literally just getting out of the shower because she had no choice but to get out, conditioner in hand. So she's like changing, whatever, puts her hoodie on backwards. It's chaotic. So we're like all grabbing stuff frantically, and then we leave because it's a fire, obviously the elevators are off, and we have to go to the stairwell to walk down the stairs. We're on a higher floor, so we've got a long way to go at this point, and we have to go down the stairs, so everyone's like in the stairwells, like running down the stairs. Clearly everyone's panicking because it really was starting to smell at this point, like to the point where we thought it was on our floor because we didn't know what was happening obviously in the moment. So we're like running down the stairs, and then we finally get to the bottom floor, and before we get outside we can see like into the like lobby area, I guess, and it's dark and really smoky and smells horrible. So we're like, well, obviously it wasn't our floor and it was down here, but we just like go outside because what else are we gonna do? Everyone starts like calling their family members, whatever, to tell them what's going on. Called my parents and neither of them picked up, so shout out to you guys. I'm just kidding, it's fine. I'm here, it's all that matters. After that, like once we got outside, we were like, now what? We don't know what's happening. We don't know what kind of fire it was. Is this a grease fire because it smelled so horrible? Like, did someone burn the place down or whatever? A bunch of us ended up finding out from like Twitter what happened to our own building from like news outlets and stuff instead of our own building, which I understand. They're clearly going through it, so. Pardon my appearance, but I just wanted to point out that my building is doing a great job updating us, letting us know what's going on. They're working really hard to fix things. I just wanted to emphasize that because I don't want, you know, to come off like the building is doing anything wrong, because they're not. Just thought I would put that out there. Thank you. Continue. We found out that it was a 3-alarm electrical fire, which I had no idea what a 3-alarm fire meant, but I think that means that there's like 3 different fire stations that were notified that there's a fire, so then like they're coming from different places, if that makes any sense. Probably not. I also didn't know what an electrical fire was. I don't know if I'm just incompetent, stupid, I don't know, whatever, but I didn't know what it was. But it basically is, it's self-explanatory. It's just that something happened with the wiring that caused a fire. So like the electrical box that like houses and apartments have. Houses I think are smaller because it's not as much electricity like through like a 20-story building or 50 or whatever. But yeah, that basically blew up, which is probably dramatic. I don't know exactly down to the nitty-gritty like what happened, but yeah, electrical fire. Luckily my roommate had a family member who lived close by, so I stayed there the night. And all night my roommate and I that were at her family members, we were talking about like what's going on, what about my stuff, like we don't know anything. I'm like freaking out because, I mean, no timing is good timing for anything like this, but I was just like, this is the worst possible timing. I've been so stressed out about school, and now this, like, of all things, like I would have never expected my building to be on fire. So that was a fun experience. But yeah, we were basically talking all night about what's gonna happen. Can we even go back to get any of our stuff? Like if we have to leave, because there had been an electrical fire previously in another building in Toronto, I think a couple years ago. I'm not really sure when it was, and their building took like a year and a half to fix. So we were like, well, if it's anything like that, then we're not going back anytime soon, but my whole life is in that room. Like actually my whole life. And not to sound materialistic, but I had like my laptop and my iPad, my Switch, chargers, my camera, my ring light, like literally everything, like all my schoolwork was up there. I was more concerned for my schoolwork, that's why I was so worried about my laptop. Oh, and my hard drive, which I have right here. This thing has my whole life on it. School, YouTube, everything is on here. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I know the fire only happened on the first floor, but it can travel, especially an electrical fire, because the wires go all the way up the building, from my understanding, I think. Yeah, so we were frantic about our stuff because all my valuables, all my literally, like I've said 1,000 times, my whole life is in that room. As you can see also, because normally the back of my videos have things in them, but my walls are bare because it's still there. Half my stuff is still there. So anyways, before I get ahead of myself, We were talking all night about what was going on, and then we went to sleep at like 3 a.m. Keep in mind, as I said, this started at 10:30 p.m. Okay, so it's like 3 a.m. and we're like hitting the hay at this point. Then we wake up from notifications from our building saying that they started to let people in, because luckily we had somewhere to go, but some people that lived there like had to wait. So they had like city buses sitting outside of our building to keep people warm, and they were let in like basically at 3 o'clock when we went to bed. So they hadn't told us anything else other than that, but we wanted to make sure we could go back to get our things. We were like, even if it's just like a few things that we can take home so we can go home. So I don't remember exactly what happened, like how we found out we could go back or if we even did, but we did go back. We walked in and we were like, it literally looked like an apocalypse happened, because like all the doors were wide open and there was still a few fire trucks there with like their hoses going in. The floors were like soaking wet, and there was still people working at security, obviously. So we go to the desk and we're like, can we go up? Are we allowed to come back at any point? And they were like, we don't really have that much information, whatever. But obviously the elevators aren't working because it was an electrical fire, which means everything's gone, basically. So we walk up an alarming amount of stairs to our floor, to the point where like by the time we got up it was like hard to breathe. And I think a combination of being out of shape and the smoke, because it was still really smelly and smoky, like my throat was hurting. And I was like, I don't think that's because I'm out of shape. Maybe I'm out of breath because I'm out of shape, but the sore throat is definitely not just from being out of shape. Anyways, we get up, and because we had to carry everything back down the stairs, I was like, there's only so much I can bring before I literally break my back going down all these flights of stairs. I have a laundry bag instead of like a basket or bin. So it's like a canvas, huge laundry bag that's got like a drawstring at the top, but it has a long strap. So the moment I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm definitely shoving a bunch of clothes in there. I mean, it already had some dirty clothes in there, so I was gonna bring it home anyways, and I was washing all my clothes anyway, so I didn't even care if I mixed up my clean and dirty clothes at that point. So I had that bag and a duffel bag, and the duffel bag, I have it right here, one second. I had this duffel bag. This, I guess you can't really see it. It's a standard duffel bag, okay? And I filled that with clothes too. The laundry bag is a little bit bigger than a duffel bag. I don't know if there's standard sizes for that stuff, but I'm just trying to let you know how much stuff I had. So I had the laundry bag, the duffel bag, laundry bag on one shoulder, duffel bag on the other, and then I had my backpack on my back and like a reusable grocery bag. I can't remember if I had anything else. I don't think so. I think that was it, because I have a suitcase in Toronto. It's still there, but I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to carry all this that I already have, plus a suitcase, down all these flights of stairs. Keep in mind, remember, I'm closer to the top. I don't know how long I'm gonna be at home for, so I'm gonna bring as much as I can back. Plus, like, my winter coat was in Toronto, so I literally put my winter coat on, because I wasn't gonna pack that, like that would take up so much room. But by the time I got to the bottom, I was like sweating my balls off. We grab all our stuff, we kind of wait a little bit, we're talking about what's going on because it's so fresh, and like I almost felt like I was still in shock or something. I don't know, it was just a weird experience that didn't feel real, especially in the moment. My roommate ended up driving me home, and every time I come home, it's usually for like a winter break or reading week, or, you know, to come visit for the weekend. So when I got home, it still didn't really feel real, you know? Like I was just coming home. Although I know it sucked and like it was definitely not a fun experience. I got home and my parents were like, so what, like, are you good? And I'm like, not really. But how, like, what else do you say, you know? So then I get home and I literally am just I'm like tired, frustrated, I'm like over it. Physically felt like I could not do anything. I had to email some profs at that point too to say like, hey, I need an extension. My building caught on fire. I don't know. Luckily the profs were really understanding and didn't ask me to prove it in any way. So I got some extensions on some things, which honestly, a lot of people say that they like getting extensions because they have more time. But as a procrastinator, I don't want more time. I would rather just get it over with, especially because I know there's other things coming up. So I didn't want things piling up or anything, but it wasn't that much stuff, so I was fine in that aspect. I started to feel almost guilty because I got home and literally just dropped everything. Like, I put everything all over my floor. Like, it was a mess in this room when I got home because I was like, I'm so tired, I'm exhausted, I can't do this. I was like hiding under my blanket type beat, you know? So I lay in bed for like 4 days and I basically caught up on sleep I was losing from this, which sounds so dramatic, but I think what got to me the most is how out of the blue it was. Because coming home, like, this was, like, we had it easy. Like, we had somewhere to go that night, which I'm so grateful for, and I had somewhere to go after that too. Like, I could come home. Like, some people, this was their home and are either forced to find somewhere else or are living there currently when it's still not fully, you know, up and running, if that makes any sense. So I'm very grateful for the resources that I have around me and the people around me, if that makes sense. But I think it was just so, like, shocking, and like I said at the beginning, it was just not good timing, which, like I said, nothing is good timing like that. Like, there's no good timing for a fire to happen. My roommates and I were saying though that, like, of all times, this is probably the best for other people because of COVID, not as many students are living there because everything's online, so, you know, they chose to stay home and whatever. So they weren't at full capacity, which normally they are. So if anything, it's better because there's less people that are affected, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, so I guess that's the story. I guess I didn't talk about it up until now. So I got home, I guess. Kinda was just like, you know, self-pitying for a few days before I got myself together. And when I say I was feeling guilty, it was because, like, I had time to do things, you know, like schoolwork or whatever, but just felt like I couldn't get myself to do it. Like, I was laying in bed and watching TikToks for 12 hours, which sounds fun in theory, but it was not that fun. So yeah, I do that. I catch up on whatever I was, you know, missing out the week later, like the week after that. And ever since, I've just been doing school and YouTube from home. And work also from home. Yeah, so the building, I'm not going to get into too much detail about this part, but for the most part, they're updating us frequently, and they have, like, power and stuff, power, water, Wi-Fi, but it's all running off of a generator because they obviously couldn't restore the power that quickly. And I think the only reason that they did do this is because people had nowhere else to go. So I figure, as of now, because I still don't know what's going on, I don't think anyone knows really any exact details about anything, but as of now, I won't be going back until January. But even then, maybe in January, it's not that much better, and I'll have an easier time here, which really sucks because who wants to spend their last semester at home by themselves without their roommates that they've lived with for who knows how long, 4 years, 4 years? I mean, that's not the most of everyone's problems, is like being with people, but that's something that I really thrive on, and that's why this was such a shock and, like, hit me so hard because I had to come home and, like, literally basically quarantine, no pun intended, in my room. I didn't have to because of COVID, but I just don't have nowhere else to go or no one else to see. Not that I would be seeing anyone anyways. But yeah, so long story long, that's what's happened and that's why I'm home. At first, you know, it happened and we were making jokes about it, and I'm still gonna continue to make jokes about it because that's how I cope. But also, like, what are the odds, you know? So, like, we were kind of just joking about that kind of stuff, and then it started to set in that, like, you know, when I was packing up a bunch of my stuff to leave, I was like, I don't even know when I'm gonna get to come back here. And I really truly love it there. Just hit my brain a little harder than I thought it was going to. I was upset, but then I remembered, like I said before, how grateful I am to have somewhere else to go. So I just wanted to emphasize that because, you know, I have somewhere to go. before I drag the story on any longer, I think that's it. But if you enjoyed this video, I guess you could give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you're notified every time that I post. And yeah, that's it. I'll see y'all later. Peace.